I'd like to take a second here and add some more details and continue to elevate the conversation of an independent woman investigative journalist, Myranda Kazos, and how she has been looking into Kristi Noem's financial transactions for many months and reporting on her Substack and TikTok about it, and how this past week a journalist from ProPublica, who she had been corresponding with, his name is Josh Kaplan, I believe he's a Pulitzer Prize winner, published her story along with two other authors, and she received no credit and no compensation. Now, I am not a journalist, I'm an activist, but I've been following Miranda's reporting around Kristi Noem for many months. If y'all are on TikTok, you've probably seen her videos where she has a Sharpie and she is drawing connections between all of the financial transactions around Kristi Noem and all of these kind of shell corporations, LLCs, and the way that Noem has apparently been funneling $220 million of taxpayer money. Miranda has such a brain for all of these financial transactions and connections, and she's been digging really deep into this. As somebody who is from South Dakota, she's been very interested in the kind of hinky stuff that Kristi Noem's been up to for a long time. And I believe she's been discussing this issue as far back as late 2024. So I've been following her reporting. I've come to really respect the work that she's doing. I find it fascinating. It's not something that I have a brain for at all. And I do consider her my friend. Initially, when I started watching her reporting, I didn't know her from anybody. But I'm really concerned about the fact that she was emailing with, chatting over Signal with Joshua Kaplan, this reporter for ProPublica. And my understanding is she thought that she was pitching a story to ProPublica. She thought they were going to bring her on board and she was going to do a story with them. And so she had been texting with Joshua, who's asking her questions. She was giving him information about all of her investigative reporting, and then she didn't hear anything else from him. And I remember several weeks ago, she had told me like, oh, I think ProPublica is interested in my story. And then she was like, oh, I think it kind of came to nothing. And then, bam, this past week, the story drops and she's like, that's my reporting. She didn't know the story was going to be published. She didn't get a byline. She didn't get any compensation. And three men did and are getting lots of notoriety. This is considered bombshell reporting. Jen Psaki covered it on MSNBC. It's a really intricate web of financial transactions and people who Kristi Noem has hired and has relationships with. And Miranda has been uncovering this for months and months and months. And so I am just concerned, as somebody who has been consuming her reporting, somebody who's been following the journalism she's been doing, I'm concerned as to why it is that ProPublica has published this piece without her name and without compensating her. Like, I don't understand enough how journalists work and how journalistic ethics work to understand, did he not have an obligation to include her, bring her on board? Did he not have an obligation to disclose to her, hey, I'm going to take everything you're telling me. I'm going to take your Substack posts. I'm going to take your TikToks, and I'm going to turn this into my own reporting, and you won't receive any credit or compensation. I'm just treating this like an interview. Like, what was the obligation? Because my understanding is she thought that she was pitching a story to ProPublica, and she was trying to get this reporter interested so that they could work on a piece together. And ProPublica and these three reporters stand to make a tremendous amount of income. These reporters stand to get a tremendous amount of notoriety for it, and Miranda sits uncompensated in obscurity. And I'm really concerned about how that happens. And, I posted a video about this the other day, and I had a bunch of folks in my comments who were like, oh, this is very common. I'm an independent journalist, or I worked in journalism. This is very common. It's not okay. It's not ethical. But if what Miranda is describing, and she has straight up said, ProPublica has taken my work. If what she has described in her TikTok videos, and I'll share a little clip in a second, is what happened, I had a lot of people saying, this is not uncommon for big names in journalism to harvest from smaller folks and not give them credit and not compensate them. So for a couple of days now, I've been posting on Blue Sky about this, trying to tag ProPublica and Josh Kaplan and Jen Psaki, and sharing screenshots and recordings that Miranda sent me of Signal chats she had with Josh Kaplan, as well as copies of her Substack piece and all of the similarities. She has proof. She's got loads and loads of receipts, y'all. So many receipts, where Josh admits, like, oh, you're the one who told me about this Delaware corporation. But she is informing him. She receives none of the credit. This is her investigative journalism. And I want to point out here, again, a small independent woman journalist living in obscurity, struggling to pay her bills, who has been deeply invested in this story and has taken on personal risk in order to report on these. She lives in South Dakota. She is drawing the ire, the attention of Kristi Noem. She's putting a target on herself to do this reporting. And now it looks like, right, her accusation is that ProPublica has taken her journalism. They have published it without giving her credit or compensation.
ProPublica published quite a scoop about Trump DHS Secretary.
I wrote all of that story. That entire story came from me, and it was stolen from me from ProPublica. Now I'm having to watch mainstream media also profit immensely off of my hard work. So if this reaches ProPublica, my Venmo's in the bio. So I was going to let it go, but the messages from people that have read my work and know it's my work haven't stopped, and watching it continue on my FYP is just too much right now. Not only did I write the same thing in the article I sent ProPublica and send a text message about.
And one of the firms benefiting is deeply tied to Noem's inner circle. I'll explain more. A South Dakota-based company called Strategy Group.
Strategy Group is Ohio-based, not South Dakota-based, but I gave ProPublica that information, connecting all of them in my notes here from July. And
A mysterious Delaware LLC created just days before it won the award is listed. Anyone who knows a good tax evasion scheme, usually Delaware's in there somewhere.
there is something called Safe America Media LLC, and as you guessed it, just like Kristi Noem's business, it is more of an entity in Delaware.
Go watch Miranda's whole series of videos on this, but that was a copy of a voice memo that she sent to Josh Kaplan, where she clearly is the one informing him of these details. And I guess I just don't understand, what are the journalistic ethics at play here when a smaller reporter brings you their work and is trying to get you to partner with them for a story. They give you all of their reporting that they've spent months and months on, and then they don't hear from you again after y'all had an extended conversation, and the next thing they know, their work is being published in a major, incredibly credible publication, and they receive no credit and no compensation. I am a huge, huge fan of ProPublica. I think they are doing some of the most important journalism out there. That's why I'm really concerned to hear that this is happening. And I guess I want an answer from the publication. I want their ethics board to reach out to Miranda. I want to know what happened here. I am not pretending that I have all of the details. I am not pretending that I myself am a journalist. I am just trying to understand. A journalist whose reporting I have been following for many months was published in ProPublica without her byline after she had extensive conversations and sent her reporting to a journalist from ProPublica. And I don't know. Maybe some journalists can help me understand, what are the ethical obligations? When is it okay to lift somebody else's journalism? Is there something I'm missing here? Kaplan, ProPublica, is there something that we are all missing here? Because we've heard extensively from Miranda, and she has brought receipt after receipt after receipt. And again, lots of us were watching her reporting. Y'all may not have known about her, but she's been out there reporting on this for a long time. She is the one who broke this story. She is the one who uncovered these facts and sent many of them to ProPublica.
I think I want to make very clear that I don't think that I have to everybody is that I'm not mad because I think ProPublica saw one of my videos and took the story. I'm not mad because I think that maybe they saw my Substack and took it. Or voice recordings are me, not just to ProPublica, but to one of the authors of the article. And some people were like, well, maybe they didn't see your message. No, we went back and forth on this for 2 or 3 days. So I put the article over top of everything I said to him in July. And in it, he confirms, yes, I've read your article. And then in it, he also confirms that he had never heard of that Delaware LLC. So part of what pissed me off is when he's telling me he didn't hear about this LLC, we've uncovered this first transaction, which, by the way, it's not. If you wanted to know the real one, it's subcontracted through CTLE, and that goes back to at least January 17th. So even that conclusion is wrong. But no, that everything you heard me say in that last audio is what I sent to ProPublica. They, of course, got it because they asked follow-up questions, the exact author of that article.
Right, so therein is the concern. Even now, Miranda is fact-checking this ProPublica article because she knows more than anybody out there on this issue, because she's been reporting on it for many, many months. You need only go look at her TikTok account to see how much and how long she has been reporting on Kristi Noem. I just want answers from ProPublica. I want to know what happened. I want Miranda to receive credit for her journalism. And also for transparency's sake, any profit I make off videos I cover about this, they go straight to Miranda's Venmo. If you enjoy her journalism, throw some bucks.